Hey, 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 Columbia. You're listening to KCOU's 88.1 FM. I'm Nina Gomez, and you're about to hear KCOU's special interview with Renee Scroggins. Scroggins, vocalist and one of the sisters that founded the influential band ESG, is joining us today. This Friday at the annual True or False Film Festival in Columbia, ESG will take the stage. This will be its first ever and last Missouri stop as the band continues its final tour. Today I speak with Renee Scroggins about the creation of the band's sound in the Bronx during the 70s, concert career highlights, and how a safe sex talk with her daughter turned into a song. Additionally, we'll talk about the band's experience with being sampled, as their song UFO has been sampled over 500 times by artists like MF Doom, Wu-Tang Clan, Beastie Boys, and more. And lastly, we'll talk about how their music transcends. But first, let's play a little bit of ESG's unique sound, as well as some tunes you might hear live this weekend. Well, first and foremost, I just want to say thank you for putting some time aside to meet with us today. It's an honor to have you here, really.
Thank you.
What does your creative process look like, or what did your creative process look like as a band, too?
Some songs, the music of the park, like when I wrote Moody, I would hear the Latin gentleman playing in the park where we lived, and I hear that percussion sound, and I said, oh wow, if we can incorporate this with other things. So sometimes it's just things around you, so sometimes there's a process and sometimes there is no particular process.
Yeah, it just depends on the song totally then.
Yeah, it just happens.
Yeah. So do you think for the most part it's just something that kind of like happens in your brain, or is it more like of a jam session and then an idea comes, or does it totally just vary?
It can be all of the above. And yeah. And then, for instance, when I wrote Erase You, okay, everybody was sampling my music. So I said, okay, what if I sample myself? So I took the song Dance, and then I changed the whole composition, and well, not totally, but enough. And then I wrote a new set of lyrics on top, which is Erase You, which is a song that women love, it seems like it empowers them. They're like, yeah, I told him right. I said, okay.
Actually, that brings up another question of mine too. Like, how does it feel kind of being one of the most like influential all-girl bands and kind of finding your place within the music scene with that? How is that like?
I mean, we had the Motown women. We had Diana Ross and the
Hmm.
Supremes, Martha and the Vandellas. So there were those women. You had the Ronettes. You had women, get out there, shebang, shebang. But
Yeah.
the, I think there were, quote unquote girl groups, and I always thought, especially with the Motown sound, that those women groups were very powerful. They still to this day.
Yeah.
So so, but I understand when you're saying, like getting out there. Well, again, when we started out performing in '78, we dealt with a lot of crap.
Mhm.
You dealt with a lot of sexism, we dealt with racism, we dealt with a lot of crap, and you have to kind of like let people know, I don't care how you treat everybody else, you're not going to treat me like that. So that was the thing, us women coming from the Bronx, we didn't take no craps.
Mm. Yeah, so you think that's kind of like where it came from then, like being able to put your foot down was kind of just where you grew up?
Maybe, yeah. I think because if you were taught to always make sure you were respected and don't take disrespect, and that's how my mother raised us.
Mhm.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, because some women may have sat back, but not us. We were ready to physically rumble with these dudes.
Exactly. Do you mind describing your mother a little bit and like her influence in your music career if she had any?
Oh yeah, of course. Without my mother, she named the band.
Oh,
Okay,
she did. I was gonna ask you about that too. How did, because I know it's remind me what elements it is again, but it's
Emerald, Sapphire, and Gold. Okay,
and why
Emerald.
that?
Emerald was my sister's Valerie birthstone. She was co-founder with me. Sapphire is my birthstone, and Gold. We wanted to go for Gold Records, so that's what that.
Oh,
So my mother, when we were trying to name ourselves, you know how like I think we were doing a talent contest, and she said, "Well, what are you going to call yourself?" And we went through all kinds of crap, and she said, "Well, what about?" And I said, "Yeah, yeah, that
that
makes
one worked. Do you remember any of the other names that you had that you were gonna name yourselves? No.
yeah, yeah, no."
They're not good.
Oh my God. No, 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 no. So yeah, sometimes, like we'll have a laugh and we'll talk about that, but oh
Hmm.
God, no, never. It's not something you publicly you you would hope nobody ever finds an old application. Like, no, that's not me. She was trying to keep us out of trouble because we grew up in the Bronx in the '70s when it was gangs, violence, young girls getting pregnant. And she didn't want us hanging out like that. Then, of course, my older siblings had fell to the street with the drugs.
Hmm.
So when I said, Mom, I mean, I would watch Don Kirshner's rock concert and I would watch Soul on PBS. And I said, I can do that. I can do that. And then my other sister chimed in, yeah, yeah, yeah. And she says, okay, well, what do you need to do that? I thought, a guitar, a bass, and some drums. And I had a folk guitar that I would be playing it like it was. So she on her clerk's salary because her and my dad was separated at the time, and my mom at the time she also she played numbers, and I don't mean lottery numbers. They had the illegal number game at that point, so she played numbers and she had a number or two, and she says, "Ha!" And she got the instruments that Christmas in 1972. That is funny because I have it on film because I was doing a documentary myself on the band, and I actually have the moment where we are touching our first instruments, and I'm 12, and my sister Valerie, she's 9, and she's touching drums like, what is this?
Oh my God, little did you guys know like how that was gonna be like turn out. That's
Yeah, no,
incredible.
we had no idea, but it did keep us interested that we wanted to learn how to play these things because we she couldn't afford the lessons, so we had to teach ourselves.
Yeah.
So so we would sit there more and we would watch people on rock concerts. And, no, you're supposed to set your drums. You see the drums on TV.
Really? So you guys taught yourselves completely off of just like videos of other rock
Yeah,
concerts or like
yeah.
or live performances,
Well,
sorry?
they were live performances at the
Right.
time. because we
Yeah, I
were
just realized
watching,
that's okay.
and if okay, it wasn't until later on that we got a VHS or a Beta machine, and we were able to take this stuff and then play it back and watch what they were doing. So yeah,
That's incredible. And you just, I guess we're just looking at where they would place their hands, and like from there you learned to
yeah,
play?
yeah, pretty much.
Actually, could you talk to me a little bit more about how growing up in South Bronx was, and how would you say that's kind of influenced your music?
Well, I really think it influenced it a lot, and I can't leave out James Brown.
Mm.
James Brown really influenced the music because James Brown would take the music to the bridge, and at the bridge you would just hear this funky, whatever was going down. And I said to my sister, I said, what would happen if we could make the whole song the bridge, little breaks? And so that was like the concept of writing. But as far as things you would hear in the street, it's funny because I was just explaining this to my son, and I said, everything you hear in the street has sound. I said, "It's do you hear it?"
Yeah.
And I was explaining to something. So now when he walks down the street, he says, "I hear that sound, Mom." And he may come home and write a serious composition. There was always that boom, boom, boom. So bass and drum was really a significant part. And then also, like I said, we had those Latin gentlemen in the park where we heard
Mhm.
the timbales, the cowbell, the claves, the conga, bongo. So that was a big percussion thing, in our brains when writing.
So a lot of your basis was kind of like sounds of the city, basically.
Yeah, well,
That's
the
really
sounds of the
cool.
South Bronx.
Right, exactly. More specifically, yeah, exactly.
Basically it was me and my sister Valerie and I learned to play the bass and I learned to play the electric guitar on my own. Then I had to teach my other sister who was real young the bass because I couldn't do the guitar and the bass at the same time. I mean, I know they had those instruments, but my mom didn't buy me one of those. So
Yeah.
the first song I can think of that me and Valerie wrote, it was just a simple, like I said, I had the folk guitar, and she would take a stool, like a stool, and
Mhm.
she would play it like it was a conga slash drum. And it was like the beat was just, doom, 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 doom. Now, 20 years later, that song became insane. So yeah, that was a cool hit.
Yeah,
As
and
far
that was the very first song that like you kind of remember that you guys were making?
yeah, but we didn't do it till 20 years later. Now the first
Oh.
song that we made and we recorded was Good, Moody, and UFO. And we did that because we were opening for a certain ratio. And
Mhm.
that's when I met Tony Wilson from Factory Records. We had Ed of 99 Records who was like so-called managing us for a year, and he had a record label, and I was trying to get him. I said, we got the Bush Tetras, how about doing the ESG record? And he was like, yeah, we'll get to it. But when Tony Wilson wanted to put out this record and Martin Hannett was producing us, then he wanted to put out the record. But I will always tell people it was Factory Records in Manchester, England that put out ESG first.
One of my favorite songs from you guys is "You Make No Sense." Could you just describe how you created that song? Because I love that song.
That song was for my husband at said time. We were
Oh,
dating.
oh, really?
Yeah, and like everything, the songs you make, no, you make, and I go, why do you lie, boy? Why do you lie? Because you, you make no sense at all. So yeah, that was a personal song. But I mean, I think we all know somebody in our life. They make no sense.
Yeah. You guys have such like a fusion of sounds, I feel like, and I've seen the venues or clubs that you've performed at, and I feel like they're like all over the place, which I think is so fun. Like I feel like I really liked seeing that. And my question with that is just kind of like, well, you had LGBTQ plus clubs like Paradise Garage, you had like Latin, funk, dance music spots. Can you kind of talk about that experience of being in so many different music hubs and like kind of your favorite memories from those times?
Well, Okay, well, the first thing I'll go to the first show we ever played, and we played this in Lower Manhattan, and we're coming from the South Bronx, where we're used to seeing, our people, and we go down there, and it's this punk club that's, I'm gonna say, 80% Caucasian. They got the punk spikes and thing, and I was scared as hell, to be frank. And I was like, oh, I'm saying to my sister, I said, oh man, what if they don't like us? I said, you know what? We're here. Let's just play.
Yeah, exactly.
So when we played the first song, and then they just started, and I was like, oh wow, man, they like us. So it really brought to my heart that music. It crosses all planes, races, sexualities, in music, languages. Because I know when we were in Japan, and it was like they didn't speak any English there, and we're playing, and it was funny because I'll never forget. There was a young lady in the front, and they were like, and it was great, and she kept saying, I was like, okay, we'll get to it. Wasn't oh wow, that was, like I said, that was a really interesting time. But wherever we go in the world, and especially when they don't speak English, so we were in Spain, we were in Italy, we were in well, they speak English in Australia. We were, but in the outback, yes. But I mean, all over the world, when you go to different places where they don't speak English, and it's the music, and they're singing along with you in English, and that's mind-boggling for me. And music transcends language. Okay, it transcends hatred. Love. So you try to bring this message of love and joy. So that's what we've been doing for 49 years. I think when people know your songs and they're actually singing it lyric by lyric with you, you're like, wow. So yeah, that's always been that gets me. Yeah, it's always fun that we're giving each other energy, and that's what you'll see next week.
How would you describe your music? Because I feel like everybody describes it differently.
Well, I think it's dance music. It's music to make you dance. You're gonna dance. That always makes me feel real good that everybody can feel free. I don't care if you're doing an eclectic dance or line dance, whatever. Do your thing, but dance.
What were the pressures like during your early career to make it or not to make it?
Well, again, when I realized, okay, at that point when ESG came out, there wasn't no such category as alternative music. So if you didn't fit in the R&B genre, the rock genre, metal genre, there was no place for you per se. I mean, you had small independent labels. So the mere fact that we would go out and we would sell out clubs, I guess they would buy records, but we don't know because we didn't get any of those earlier sales, So, things like that made you realize, but I think more than anything, like I said, the experience of people knowing your songs and knowing your music, my thing where I was like blown away. We were in New York City and there was a big snowstorm, not like the one now, not a blizzard, but a snowstorm. And it was snowing heavy. And I said, man, I told my sister, I said, maybe there won't be anybody in the audience tonight. I said, because it's snowing bad. I said, so, we'll go out there, we'll do our set, and then, we got to make it home in the snow.
Right.
So when I went out there and that room was packed wall to wall, that was like, the best feeling in the world, because I just knew nobody was going to come out in that snowstorm, and they came, and it was packed. That was like my earliest memory of wow.
Which one of your songs for you personally is like the most personal for you, and why?
Let's see. Now that's a hard question. Okay, because all my songs are about dancing and fun, but then again, there are a lot of songs that are about relationships. Like I just told you, "You Make No Sense" was about the gentleman I was dating at the time, who, by the way, I married, and these are the children now. A lot of the songs were like my way to express, what I was feeling at said time. So I think each song, as I told somebody recently, because they were like saying, well, how do you feel about, people sampling? Don't you think? And I said, no, I said, I still don't like it. And they go, well, why not? I said, because when you write a song, each song is personal. Each song is like your child. you went inside your soul, or you went inside these feelings that you were feeling, and you wrote this composition. Each song is a personal baby to me, so that's
Yeah.
what I'm going. Now wait a minute, which one do I like better?
Yeah, exactly. It's like your favorite child, which yeah, doesn't exist.
Yes.
Well, yes, you're saying like with the sampling, if someone were to, for example, is it for you like you just don't really like the fact that people have sampled your music at all, or is it more so like you don't like when, for example, you have a certain message with your song and then someone samples it and it's a completely different message? Is that what you don't like, or?
Well, okay, yes. Okay, for instance, UFO, which is the most sampled song, was
Exactly.
about when I wrote the song, I had seen Close Encounters of the Third Kind, and they
Mhm.
were doing this, they were communicating with the aliens through. So I said, oh man, I said, what it would be like if a UFO landed in the center of the project. Thus, that was my vision of, you know, craziness of a UFO landing and what kind of chaos there would be in the middle of the projects. But then they took it and they sampled it, and like a lot of rappers at first, they would write a lot of negative songs about women. And I'm like, do you realize women wrote this song? You
Yeah,
know?
exactly. Yeah.
And you're sitting there talking crap, and see, we didn't have sample laws at the time, so I had no control over this stuff. Then when the sample laws came out, it took a minute to get paid for this, but it wasn't even about getting paid, because the people, of course, they, oh yeah, they owe you. I said, but I don't want it on there at all. If you can just, you know, take it off. Now, the wildest sample use by two artists that I'm like, why? Was Miles Davis, okay,
Mm.
sampled UFO. That blew me away. And there's a sample with Queen. Sure, was it We Will Rock You? And I'm like, Queen is my favorite band. Like, how did
You're
they?
like,
They had no idea. Being sampled by so many, different hip hop artists over the years, and then not even getting paid for it. That was horrible. So I think
yeah.
that leaves a bad taste in your mouth, because I was sitting at home struggling, and these guys were out there, using UFO, and I need to feed my kids.
Exactly.
Listen, if they never sample my music again in life, I would be thrilled. you know, because that's not why I wrote it. And,
Yeah.
and, 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 to be chopped up or butchered, or for you to use the whole thing, and whatever you put on top is like, I'm like, no,
Hmm.
okay. I mean,
And
they could have came to me. You wanted to do a song, then come to me and we can do something from scratch. I would
okay.
have more respect for that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Have you, this is just out of curiosity too, have you listened to like almost like, because I would feel like if that was me in that perspective, I would just kind of want to hear like what people were doing with my song. Have you gone around to listening that I know there's over like 500 versions of your song UFO, but have you listened to like all of them?
Almost all of them. Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
insane.
Just because at one point, I remember what I told them. I said, I'm going to write this song, basically called, sample this. And I said, I was going to take and start UFO, and then take every artist that's ever sampled it, put it in the damn record, and let them sue me. So when that happened, then people started paying up,
Mm,
because I had put that out in the press at that time.
yeah.
I'm like, yeah. And then everybody's like, you can back off. I'm like, wait a minute. So they wouldn't like their major artists, because there were a lot of major artists that were
Mhm.
sampling, putting this compilation of people, just one chorus after the other. But I was so frustrated at that point of time, like, don't do it, because what if I did it to you? If I did it to you, you would be suing me lickety split.
No, that's very understandable. And actually, I did read like a little bit more than also how you just said about the process behind UFO and kind of like how that came about. Do you kind of feel like music for you guys at that time was an escape or more so like a way to transcend like your situation or like both?
Both.
Okay.
It definitely was an escape from the environment we were in because, as I said, it kept us inside because we were trying to write, or you do this, you do that, and then to actually get out there and have audiences love what you did, and even though you didn't fit in what was the norm of music, because there was no title for you, it was something.
And then kind of like, oh wait, sorry, I lost my. Oh, yeah, so which album creation was the most difficult for you guys as a group and why?
I don't think so much it was difficult. It was when we brought our daughters into the band, me and Valerie, and we did the Step Off album. And okay, during the Step Off album, we were able to express things, because they were teenage girls, to express things that, how you sit down with your mom and your mom is trying to express, if you have sex, have safe sex. Okay. This is a song, Six Pack of Love. And people come up to me and they always go, what is six pack? And the guys would show me their rippling. They said, yeah, six pack.
Yeah.
I've had people give me a six pack of beer, and his ESG name one, and they said, yeah, a six pack. And I said, but that's not what the record's about. Apparently you weren't listening to the lyrics. I was talking at that time about a six pack of condoms. Okay.
Oh.
They used to come in six packs. So basically, it was saying, if you're going to have sex, have safe sex. So that's what Six Pack of Love is about. So it was funny because my daughter would go, oh God, Ma, we're singing a public service announcement. But my daughter, it's funny, she was doing this little dabbling with the bass, and I said, what are you doing? And she thought I was yelling at her. I said, no. And she did these two notes, and the whole song just came to me just like that. And I kid you not. So, different things. I said, okay. So I'm sitting there writing down the lyrics and things and stuff as she keep hitting these two notes and stuff. So then, my sister came in with the drums, and it was wild. But yeah, it was definitely, maybe it was things I was feeling, I wanted to express to her, okay, you're to the age and you're going to want to get out there and do these things. But, always protect yourself. And if the guy doesn't have the condoms, that's when you pull out your six pack.
We must always be conscious of the things that we do. Responsibility for actions is the thing that is true. Baby, I ain't down for a night of passion with you. Come on, baby, and bring a six pack or two. Just pick me up a six pack. 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 Pick me up a six pack of love.
The role in which motherhood is kind of played in your music, how has that changed your career, and also how has it shaped it now? Because I'm sure in the early days that must have been wild to kind of navigate.
Yeah. Well, I mean, not only me, my sister Valerie, she had her daughter, and my mom would always babysit. Okay. Then when we came and we were performing with our daughters, I still had my son who was very young. So, but it never stopped us. I played up until I was 9 months pregnant.
Okay? Oh my gosh.
Had the baby. And a week later was playing in California, opening for a public image. Yeah. So no, that has never been a big thing. If you want to do something, do it. It's like go all in. So yeah, it has never stopped me, and now it's great because my kids are playing along. My daughter Nicole, she's still playing bass, and my son Nicholas, he now plays percussion. He's a performance artist during the show, but
that's amazing. So they all have their own musical careers as well now.
Yeah, and my son, he performs with us and he writes music too. So it's like, I know my son wants to continue playing on, so he'll continue doing what he does. And I mean, I don't know, when we're done with this tour, how this is going to work out, what everybody's going to do, but we'll discuss it at set time.
Right. Yeah. Once it happens, we'll cross that bridge when you get there. That's insane. They must have just been dancing in your belly then when they were in there. exposed to music so young.
Yeah. We would be rehearsing in the living room, and they would come out and want to lay on an amp. I kid you not. So maybe that was because they would be feeling the vibration while they were in the belly. And once they got near an amp or touched the amp, they would sleep. Yeah, so that was very comforting to them. And of course, we like get some earphones, sit them, whatever have you. But they would sit there, and when most babies, they would just be in awe. And then next thing you know,
you're speaking a little bit about how this is your last tour, and so are you doing this tour kind of as a family, and like what influenced your decision in making this the last tour?
Well, it wasn't the point. I mean, I love performing for the fans. We all love performing for the fans. It's the business side.
Okay.
And when the business side gets real sloppy and disrespectful, I've been playing for 49 years. I've been playing, and you want to treat me a certain. I said, you know what, Renee, you've done enough. You made enough. You made, imprint. You don't need this crap. So, that's on the business side. But as far as the fans, I will truly miss performing for the fans because they have given me nothing but love and energy, and that'll be the part that I'll miss. Every year, the crowd gets younger and younger. You would figure, yes, you're blessed from. Nope. And I think that's because our music has transcended, the decades. It's like, whether it's in movies, commercials, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, they're using dance on there. So it's really interesting, all things, or just the mere fact that I found during touring that a lot of young women have come and they're like, wow, I can't believe this music, like it's been around this long. It's like, wow, it's saying something to me. I'm glad. If it says something to you forever and ever, that's great. Then that means, I did my job as an artist that brought you a message that inspires your life somehow.
Yeah, no, that's perfectly said as well, because I feel like your guys' music was like truly ahead of its time. Like I feel like even now, I think that's why each generation can like pick up so much from it, because I feel like it is so unique and timeless. And that actually was one of my other questions, is kind of like what drives the music you make, because I'm just really curious to like how one can create kind of that sound that is so unique and timeless, and like what is driving that sound.
It's just something that you feel and you hear from the streets, and is talking to you, and you gotta let it out to express what you're feeling. I mean, if I'm working on a few things, and it's like from things that are going on in the world right now, and I'm working on a song or two that I guess this will be on this last album that I'm doing, and
Hey Columbia, you're listening to KCOU's 88.1 FM. That was Get Funky by ESG. Today we're talking with Renee Scroggins of New York's era-defining dance punk band ESG. But before we jump back in, you're about to hear some songs handpicked by Miss Scroggins herself. Here are 4 songs she says make her dance. Enjoy.
So let it ride.
just heard some handpicked remixes along with B-52's 52 Girls and Cardi B's Bodega Baddie, all of which are some of ESG's current songs they dance to. Let's get back to it. You're listening to KCOU's interview with the talented Renee Scroggins of ESG.
The message has always been for us to come out and dance and basically be at peace with ourselves and love ourselves. For that hour we're out there partying, we can do that. We can respect ourselves for that time period and love ourselves, and maybe we'll learn something through the music if we're listening to one another. I mean, it's a hard thing to say. If we're not talking and singing and dancing with each other, how are we ever going to find a common ground, a common point?
Yeah, exactly. Well said.
We need communication. Without communication, nothing's going to change or nothing's going to happen.
Exactly. And just kind of like, you were kind of mentioning that you had a last album in the works. Is that something you can kind of talk about a little bit or not? I totally respect it.
Well, the last song, one of the first singles from it is a song called "Don't Dance on Glass," and you can actually download it, or it's out there, on Amazon and things like that. Basically, it's saying you're moving too fast, but don't dance on glass. So these messages are like, think about what you're doing. We send you a message, to say, listen here, just check out what's going on. Don't wind up on these sharp edges, So
exactly.
it's like you say something, you're not trying to be too preachy, but you're saying, hey, pay attention to what's going down. It's saying a lot without saying anything.
What kind of is your message to newer artists that are like navigating like the world now and kind of like feel maybe overwhelmed by what they're seeing and like news or stuff like that? It kind of is your message to them.
Well, I mean, the thing of it is, if you're a music artist, and even if you're a poet or something, just write down and express what your feelings are. And if you want to share it with the world, do so, because you certainly have plenty of platforms. I didn't have these platforms when we were coming along. I couldn't make a YouTube video. I wish I could have,
Right.
But you have a lot of platforms that, we didn't have coming up. So, whether through music, through poetry, through painting, express yourself. Okay. I mean, it's bad when you keep it in, so if it's something, I think you should do it artistically, but not in a way that promotes hatred or violence, that promotes, let's talk about it. On the business side, make sure you keep your music rights and your publishing so that your songs and your career are able to feed you when you decide to leave, and it's not feeding the people who provided you with trinkets and things like, here's a new car, no, keep your publishing and keep your masters. And so this way, this will take care of you, or at least keep the biggest possible piece, so that you're included in if your song is going wild.
Exactly. No, that's exactly like, and I'm sure your band, out of many bands, can speak on that for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I do go out and support other artists. I got there's a band from Chicago, I think they call Clickbait, and I like them. They're basic and they're wild and I think they give an interesting performance. I listen to a lot of the old stuff, but I listen to new artists, and it just depends on what they're saying. I recently actually saw Tito Puente Jr., who plays his father's Afro-Cubano music, because I was going to say salsa, but he instructed the audience. He says, no, this is Afro-Cubano music. He said, salsa is something you eat with a chip. So okay, from now on, I'm going to say Afro-Cubano music, So.
What are you most looking forward to performing this for the True or False Film Festival?
Well, first of all, we keep a very danceable set. It's all like, there's no reason for you to sit down, because the next one's going to be something for you to dance to too. It's really funny, because we'll start it with dance and we'll end it with erasure. So remember I was telling you about the sampling of ourselves.
Exactly. That's the one that you sampled yourself with.
We started with dance and we ended with erasure. We'll play newer songs like Watching. I love to play Watching. I love to play a song called I Feel Tonight. And this is all in the set. We're going to play The Beat. We're going to play, oh God, of course you make no sense.
I will be so excited to hear that one.
It's the songs you know, and then the newer songs that we have incorporated into the set. Strange Creatures Dance. They're all danceable because the point is to keep you dancing. We're going to keep you. We're out there for that hour. And for that hour, we're there to energize you. Okay? Mm-hmm. I mean, you know, maybe it's like, you know, with encore, maybe I'll do something sort of like, you know, good, come away, you know. But it's generally the thing is, to keep you energized for that hour. You know, I've never been to Missouri, so it's like, wow, it'll be an experience. We're getting to Columbia we're landing in St. Louis and we're driving to Columbia. Okay, so that'll be interesting in itself. To get to see a bit of how it is. So it doesn't matter where you live, where you come from. It will reach you. It will inspire you, and you will dance. That's all I can tell you. So come on out and dance.
And I guess if you're in the Midwest, also cheese curds are really yummy if you want to try those out.
My daughter loves those.
Okay, good. Then she knows what's about. It's so good. Yeah,
she loves those. I'm like, no.
It sounds questionable, but it is good.
Yes, it does. And I
fried cheese balls, yeah.
And she says, "Come on, Mom." I go, "No." And see, another thing. I'd be very careful. I got the worst food poisoning of my life in Australia.
Oh.
Now we're supposed to go back to Australia in November. And I'm like going, I'm not eating.
leave it so.
Yeah, so when you said cheese curds, I'm thinking food poisoning.
No.
No, I know it's not, but I'm saying that I look at anything. But other than that, like I said, I have enjoyed performing for 49 years. I have enjoyed that my songs I wrote have taken me all around the world. Mm-hmm. I mean, so a girl coming from the South Bronx project, that's a hell of a thing. Okay?
Yeah. That's insane. Starting from the instruments your mom gave you to now, that's insane. And yeah, just my last question is, do you want to let audiences know anything else about your music? Any last final messages?
You know, come on out and do your own thing, but enjoy the music. Peace, love, and harmony.
Beautiful. Perfect. Well, thank you so much for your time. It's truly an honor to have you on here and like with KCOU, but yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, that was our interview with Renee Scroggins of ESG. Come and watch them perform for this special event Friday, March 6th at 9:30 p.m. at the Blue Note. For more information, visit truefalse.org/program/music. Once again, I'm Nina Gomez, and you're listening to KCOU's 88.1 FM. Thank you.